Imagine being so dangerous that the most powerful empire on earth teaches its children one phrase before bedtime. Hannibal is at the gates, not Caesar, not Alexander. One man nearly destroyed Rome without an empire, without reinforcements, and without mercy. This is Hannibal Barca. Hannibal was born into a world of hatred. His father, Hamilcar Barca, a brilliant general himself, had been defeated by Rome in the First Punic War. As a young boy, Hannibal was made to swear a sacred oath at an altar to forever be an enemy of Rome. Rome had humiliated his homeland. Carthage, Hannibal would spend his entire life repaying that debt in blood. By his late 20s, he was already in command of Carthage's army in Spain. But instead of launching a predictable attack across the sea, he decided to do the unthinkable. He would march his army over the Alps. Think about that for a second. We're talking snow, treacherous cliffs, and deadly avalanches. He brought war elephants with him, massive beasts that froze to death in the brutal conditions. By the time he descended into Italy, half of his army was gone. 40,000 men vanished into the mountains. And in Rome, the senators laughed. They saw a depleted, frost-bitten army led by a reckless young general. They laughed until Hannibal arrived on their doorstep. Hannibal didn't fight Rome like a simple barbarian. He was a genius who outthought them at every turn. At the Battle of the Trebia, he used the freezing cold to his advantage, luring the overconfident Roman legions into the icy river before his hidden cavalry slammed into their rear. At Lake Trasimene, he executed one of the largest ambushes in history, using the morning fog to conceal his entire army. He completely wiped out a consular army, killing the consul himself. Rome was reeling. But then came the masterpiece, the Battle of Cannae. This wasn't just a victory. It's considered the single greatest tactical achievement in military history. Rome, tired of the humiliation, assembled a massive force over 80,000 men, the largest army they had ever fielded. Hannibal had maybe half that. He arranged his troops in a crescent shape, with his weaker soldiers in the center. As the battle began, the massive Roman legions pushed forward exactly as Hannibal planned. The center of his line slowly bent backward, drawing the Romans deeper and deeper into a trap. Then Hannibal's elite cavalry, having already defeated their Roman counterparts, swung around and slammed into the Roman rear. The trap snapped shut. The Roman army was completely encircled, packed so tightly they could barely lift their swords. By sunset, over 50,000 Roman soldiers lay dead on the field. Never before had Rome suffered such a devastating loss. And never again would it. The city of Rome was in a state of absolute shock. Mothers tore their hair out in the streets. The Senate was paralyzed with fear. Everyone believed Hannibal would march on the city and burn it to the ground. So here's the million-dollar question that historians have debated for centuries. Why didn't Hannibal march on Rome? He was at the gates. The city was defenseless. The truth is, Hannibal wasn't reckless. He was a brilliant strategist, and he knew that taking a fortified city like Rome without proper siege equipment or a secure supply line would be suicide for his exhausted army. He desperately needed reinforcements and siege engines. But the political elites back in Carthage, jealous of his success, refused to send them. He was betrayed by his own people. So for 15 long years, Hannibal remained a ghost in Italy, undefeated in every single battle he fought on their soil. Rome couldn't beat him in a fair fight, so they adopted a new strategy. They avoided him. Instead, a brilliant new Roman general, Scipio, took the war to Hannibal's home. He attacked Carthage itself. Forced to return to defend his homeland, Hannibal faced Rome one last time at the Battle of Zama. And for the first and only time in his career, Hannibal lost a major battle. But it wasn't because he was outgeneraled. It was because Rome had finally learned from him. Scipio used Hannibal's own tactics against him. In the end, Rome won the war. They systematically dismantled Carthage, burning the city and salting the earth so nothing would grow again. They tried to erase it from history, but they could never ever erase the shadow of Hannibal. Roman generals for the next 500 years studied his battles. Napoleon Bonaparte considered him the greatest military strategist of all time. To this day, military academies around the world, from West Point to Sandhurst, still teach the tactics of the Battle of Cannae. Hannibal didn't conquer Rome, but he did something more lasting. He redefined the art of war itself. So now the real question is this. Was Hannibal the greatest general in history, greater than Alexander, Caesar, or Napoleon? Drop your answer in the comments below. If you want more stories of legendary generals and forgotten wars, make sure to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell, because history isn't just written by the victors, it's shaped by those who almost destroyed empires. Thanks for watching.